My name is Jessica Hodges and this is video 1. I do not have a printer, so I have to use my laptop for my list of bones, and my skeleton is on the floor next to me because I can't, move back and forth between both, and I want to make it professional for you. So I may have to do a little bit of movement and pausing of the video just so I can look at the list and do everything correctly at the same time. Bear with me. So here's my list on the laptop. As you can see, I did do definitions besides some of these because I like to have notes afterwards for various reasons. Most of them you can see aren't finished. So here is the skeleton that is next beside of me while I'm in the chair. We don't have very much room in our kitchen right now, so bear with me once again. I may not be able to be in the video with the skull, so I'm going to be facing my phone towards the skull because I'm not tech savvy. I don't know how to look at the paper and name the parts of the skull while video recording because I do not have a selfie stick or anything like that. I'm home alone, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Thank you. So I will begin with the frontal bone, and I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush to point to the frontal bones. The frontal bone is located here and is part of the upper part of the eye socket here. Not sure if you can see. I can move this right up in here, and the upper part also extends to right here where this line is, which is also the coronal structure. This line right here, as you can see, it goes to here over the skull, and to the other side of the skull as well. That is the coronal structure. This is the frontal bone of the skull. That includes the upper part of the eye sockets. So bear with me, I have to turn the skull some and the skeleton around. So the parietal bone starts here and it ends at the base of the skull back here to this line. So it starts here on this side and then it moves. I'm gonna rotate. And it comes across to the other side as well. Again, this is the parietal bone that I just showed you. Here to here. This area here, and part of the jaw, to the ear canal, is the temporal bone, this area right here. I'm hoping you can see this correctly. This area right here. If I could mark it, I would. But I'd rather not mark the skeleton. The occipital bone, which is the bone that forms the back and base of the skull through which the spinal cord passes, is located here. And as you can see, right here's where the spinal cord passes through the skull. It's located here. The next part is the coronal suture. The coronal suture is what I said before, which is behind the frontal bone, which is right here. And it goes straight across and down to both sides. As you can see. I had to sit the skeleton on the floor so that I can show you much easier. Here is the sagittal suture. It is a dense fibrous connective tissue joint between the two parietal bones of the skull. As you can see, here's the parietal bone, and here is the parietal bone. And here is the sagittal suture. The squamous suture is right about here to here. As you can see, it's not really on the skeleton. You can't see it on mine. But it is right here. It's located here. From this suture to this suture. At the back of the skull, we have the lambdoidal or lambdoid sutures. Right here. Goes from this side across the back to the other side of the base of the skull, as you can see right here. So as you can see on the skeleton, right up here, this is so much smaller to use, so I'm going to use this. This part and this part, which are two small oblong bones on humans that form the bridge of the upper 1/3 of the nasal cavity. As you can see, this is the nasal cavity. So these two are the nasal bones. So here's the skeleton. Here I am still. I'm still here. This is my pointer I'm using. The next bone that we will talk about is the maxilla bone. The maxilla is located, I fixed the skeleton just a few seconds ago, but it keeps going back. So I'm sitting in a chair, so it's a lot harder for me to do. And when I sit on the floor, I'm short. So the maxilla bone is from right here. This is the jawbone. And it reaches up into the orbit of the eye socket, which is right about here. And the same in the left, to right about here to where this suture is. You can see the sutures. And here's the other part. As you can see, this is the top jaw. So it's right up in here, in this area of the facial structure. So the mandible is this lower jaw piece right here. Let's see if I can take it out one more time. Just give me. Okay. So I pulled the jawbone down so you can see this part. So on this part, the mandibular notch. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to pronounce it best that I can. I have trouble with some words. Is right here in this crevice. As you can see, there's a notch right here where my thumb is. Right here. That's the mandibular notch. I'm trying. The rambus of the mandible. I'm gonna switch hands. So it's a lot easier. So this is the ramus. It goes from the top to the bottom to right here. About right there. I'll pick it up so you can see a little bit better. This to right here. The mental foramen I'll get to next as soon as I fix. So I fixed the jaw on the skeleton once again. So the mental foramen is located right about here on the jaw. As you can see, I'll get a little bit closer and zoom in. There isn't one on my skeleton as there would be on a larger skull. See, on either side. But it would be right about here. Right about here. So the mandibular condyles are located right here. And let me rotate my skeleton for you. And let me fix this. And it is located right here as well, as you can see. Right here. There's two. One on the left side and one on the right. Okay, so the coronoid process of the mandible is located here. Right here. And is located on the left and right side of the skull. I will turn him so you can see. Here's the other one. Right here. I'll pull it out so you can see really quick. Right there. So the zygomatic bones, I'm so sorry for the mispronunciation of it, are located on both sides, the left and the right of the skull, which are located right here. I will zoom in just a little bit. Right here. And on the left side, you have the same bone. Right there. The sphenoid bone lateral view is right here. This small area right here. And is located on the other side as well. I'll turn so you can see. Also located right here on the left side as well. So for the lacrimal bone, I have to go in just a little bit more. It's located right in this area. See, if I were to use my finger, you wouldn't be able to see it. So it is located right here. And it is also located in the other eye socket, which is right there as well. I'll zoom back. So the nasolacrimal bone is also located near the eye socket, which is right in here. See this indentation? It is right in this hole. In the right side as well, as you can see right in here. So the supraorbital foramen is located right above where the eyebrow would be, but it's this little indentation. I'm not sure if you can see it very well. It's right there where the tip of my thumb is, right there. And there should be another one. Yep, it's right there. You can very vaguely see a little dot right there where my thumb's at. But they should have it on both sides. So I zoom back out, and the infraorbital foramen is located on this, where the cheeks would be at, kind of, where your cheekbones are located. Is this little dot, this little indentation on both sides where I'm sticking the paintbrush in, right there. I'll tilt it up just so you can see. There is two, one on the left and one on the right. So now we're going to get into the orbital area of the eyeball, where the eyeball would be located. So inside of this orbit here, my fingers are way too big to fit in there, but the superior orbital foramen is located at the very very back up here. Be located right back there. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was foramen. It's the fissure, but the foramen is also in here as well. The fissure is located right back in here. I can't get very close, but it's right back in there. And it's also in the very back of this one as well. So the inferior orbital fissure is located right here in this crevice. Oh, his face went down. I'm so sorry. That scared me. So it would be located in the same side as this one, which would be located in that area. So the vomer bone is located here. The perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone is located above the vomer bone, which is right here. This, from right here at the tip to about here, is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. So the middle nasal congo is located inside the nasal cavity at the very back up there. I'm sure you cannot see. It's up at the top, but at the back. If you understand what I'm saying here. It's kind of hard for me to get in there. It's like right up there in the back. On the left and right side. But the inferior nasal conga is right here. They would be located right here. And then on the other side right here. The anterior nasal spine. So I'm going to turn the skeleton to almost lateral view. And as you can see the nasal cavity pointing. So this little area that's kind of pointed right here, where the tip of the bottom of the end of the paintbrush right here, that is the anterior nasal spine. So the next bone is the external auditory meatus, which is located in here. It would, go a little bit further in, I guess. But here. It is also located on the left side as well, which is right here. So I will turn my skeleton back to the appendicular, facing me. And when I raise his head up, as you can see in between, right here, between the eyes, but above the bridge of the nose, right here, this area is also called the glabella. So for the next part, I will be viewing the inside of the skull for the greater and lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. In order to do so, I will have to remove the top of the skull. So here's the inside. It's pretty awesome. So inside, this is what it looks like. I'll pull him just a little closer. So as you can see, this is the inside right here. So inside, we will find the lesser and the greater wing. The lesser wing is right here. Right here. And the greater wing is inside right here. And this is the body. Exactly right here. This is the body. But, well, I'm so sorry about my camera not being able to focus, but it's right here. Greater is these little NK circles on both sides right here. And this right here is the lesser. So as you can see, I still have the cranial skull open still. So I have 4 different colors of markers that I have used to help me just a little bit. So, because the skull is so small on this dummy skeleton. The sea green color is the optic canal. It would be located inside that little itty bitty circle right in there. I tried my best to put the marker in. And then the next one is foramen rotundum, which are the little black dots, which are located like right about down here. I tried to get as close in as I could. That'd be right in there. The next one is the foramen ovale, which are my blue dots. They'd be right about in here. Let me move a little bit. There we go. I know my hand's taking up some. They would be right about in there, that area. The next one is the foramen lacrum. The foramen lacrum is kind of inside the skull. It looks more fake. If I had a real skull, I could probably do it a lot better. But it would be located about this area where the orange dots are. So the next bone is the foramen spinosum, which is the light blue, as I have marked. Makes it a little bit easier to remember them for me. So this little one that is orange, as you can see right there, and then right here in this little crevice, I tried to get in there as much as I could. That is the carotid canal on both sides, right there and right there. The black lines, which I tried to get in there, that's what I was trying to do. I was just trying to make a dot, but it ended up being a line. Those are the jugular foramen, which are found inside the cranial skull, the cranium. Okay, so the next will be the palatal bone. While the skull is off, I'm still going to do it. So as you can see, if I tilt my skeleton over just a little bit, you can see on the inside right there, that bone that is sticking out. It makes like a curve, kind of. I'll point to it in just a second. This bone right here, that is the palatal bone. So the next one is the incisive fossa, which is this little black line right here. So I did that to show better, because you can't really, whenever you look at it, you really can't see anything. So it's a lot easier for me to do that than just point and say that's the incisive fossa. The next one is the greater palatine foramen, which is located at the roof of the mouth. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to lay the skeleton down to show you. So inside, you can see right there, I drew inside of it just a little bit to show right there on the left. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see them now. I drew with a gray marker both sides for the greater palatine foramen. It is located on the right and left side, and they are the larger little holes that are on the inside there. Okay, so I've had an incident with my skeleton, George. His leg has fallen off, and I can't put it back on, so you're just going to bear with me for a moment. So the foramen magnum is located right here. That's the hole where the spine goes into the skull. The mastoid process is this bone that's right here. This part right here. So I still have a one-legged George. But the styloid process is located right, I'm so sorry, right in here. I'm trying to make sure the camera is on it while I'm pointing. It is located right in here. Right there. The next is the stylomastoid process. Foramen. I'm so sorry. The foramen is located underneath, which is the base of the skull. And the stylomastoid foramen is located right in here on both sides of the skull. So going back to the cranium inside the skull, the crista galli is this part, this little raised up bone right here, and the cribriform plate is right around it. It almost looks spongy, but it's basically right around the crista galli. The sella turcica is located inside of this skull piece right here. It is right smack dab in the middle of that, where I inserted the end of the paintbrush. The internal auditory meatus is right here and here on both sides. So this concludes my video 1 of everything. As you can see, I'm still here. I've been here. I can't go back and forth with the front facing me and then facing the skeleton and then facing my list, as you can see. But I've done everything, I hope. I'm so glad you bared with me because it's been a hectic day. My leg did fall off of my skeleton and I'm not sure how to put it back on. So I'm glad you bared with me through that. Hopefully I pronounced everything correctly. I did go through and pronounce everything through Google to help me. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day.